So investing in foreclosure properties is a popular way for investors to leverage real estate assets for a higher profit. This is Dave at TitleSearch.com talking to our friends at REI Club. Obviously, a lot of people are interested in foreclosure properties, and there's 2 or 3 ways to buy them. One is directly from a lender who has foreclosed and taken ownership of that property. A second way is to purchase it from a sheriff's auction. That would be in a judicial state where the foreclosure is done through the court system. A third way is to purchase it from a lender's representative or trustee, and that would be in a non-judicial state where it goes through a trustee. Usually it's a law firm that will auction off these properties. In any event, as an investor, it's important to understand what your property rights position is relative to a foreclosure. For example, at a foreclosure auction, that auction process and event may wipe out some other encumbrances on the property, but it may not wipe out all of them. That's why understanding what other claims against that property currently exist at the time of the auction, and also understanding separately which ones will be extinguished by that auction process. For example, a tax lien or a government lien typically survives most types of foreclosures, where a second mortgage, line of credit, or even a credit card judgment may not. And again, those are things you want to look at in your own particular county, your own particular state. There's usually statutes which will describe which items will survive a foreclosure. It's a common mistake to look at a foreclosure and bid on a second mortgage. And we have a lot of clients come to us where we run title searches and find that the foreclosure auction that was held, that the client bid hard-earned money, was for a second mortgage, and the first mortgage was still in place ahead of it in order of priority. And that first mortgage is still there and now becomes the obligation of that investor if they want to follow through and own the property. The second option is buying it through the lender directly, who's foreclosed and owns that property, and may have listed it with a realtor. They may have an REO department. They may have a short sale department. And dealing with that lender gives you a couple advantages. First of all, they may have done some rehab on the property. You probably will have more time to inspect the property, get inside, look around, see what's there. The borrower, the debtor, has probably already been evicted. They're probably not in the property. But with those advantages come a higher price point. Usually, because of the fact that the property is more appealing, investors will typically bid more for it. And if it's a straight sale, the lender will probably price it higher because they've had some expenses going along with those additional services. The third option is buying it through a non-judicial state where a trustee is holding the auction. That is actually kind of a hybrid. Typically, you may have some access to the property because it is a private sale. You also maybe have different payment terms. That's another very important thing to look at. What obligations do you have if you bid on that property or purchase it as far as funding the sale? Sometimes a sheriff's sale requires cashier's check in the full amount within 24 hours. That puts you in a serious situation of having those funds ready to go at a moment's notice. Sometimes it's a 10% cashier's check at the time of the sale and then 30 days to pay the rest. Typically, there are no contingencies on these purchases. There's no way to get out of the deal if you've bid on the property. If the roof is falling in, if it's got a bad title, if it's got liens, if it's got some other defects, it doesn't matter. You bid on the property, it's buyer beware, it's an as-is sale. So understanding that and making sure you do a great amount of due diligence, what the risks are, is an excellent way to purchase a property for 10, 15, 20% less than what the typical market value might be, and also save on those closing costs. Instead of spending, $10,000 or $15,000 on closing costs, you may only want to spend $300 or $400 on some due diligence, title search, maybe inspection, or some other things, and be way ahead of the game versus somebody who's buying it retail through the MLS system. If you have questions about doing research on property, you can reach us at our website at TitleSearch.com.